Morning, YouTube. It's Tuesday, but I'm still filming, which means that I have done a terrible thing and decided to skip my son's outdoor wild adventure class today. Skip it with him. I'm not sending him without me. Basically it's like 25 degrees out, and this thing takes place in a park that's on the water, and I'm just not doing it today. I have so much stuff I need to do. I'm backed up on uploading these things. I have stuff that I need to do for work. I just have like way too much. And frankly, this thing has been a little bit disappointing. It's called Little Wild Ones, I think. And it's this sort of class where they have like guided playtime for toddlers in a local park, which is a very nice park. And, you know, guided playtime is as guided as it could be with such a young group of people. So, like, loosely guided. And the thing is, like, my son can't walk yet. He's, like, he can't walk. Let's say he can't walk yet. And, he's right on the edge, but, like, he can't. And when we started the program, he really couldn't walk. Like, even with you holding onto his hands, he was not really trying. And the age range for this thing says 10 months to 2 years, and he was like just 10 months old when it started. So we contacted them and we were like, okay, so he's like basically just in the age cutoff. What kind of things are you going to be doing? Is it going to be a problem that he can't walk? And they were like, no. All ages, like, whatever. As long as he's somewhat mobile, it's good. He is mobile. Like, he could crawl. He can crawl. But like the not being able to walk turned out to be a big hindrance to like a lot of the things that they were doing, and not just like not being able to walk, but like he doesn't really grasp a lot of the concepts that the guided playtimes were based off of. So like, for instance, if they were doing like a fake fishing thing where like we had these like long stick rods with like string attached to them and little fake lures, and they were supposed to be fake fishing in the Hudson River, my son can't do that. Like, he doesn't understand. He just wants to swing the stick a few times, and if he can hit something or make a noise with it, he'll keep swinging it, and eventually it'll get boring for him, and then he will throw it. Or, at the beginning of the class, he wouldn't even throw it. He'd just drop it. So, like, he's not going to be able to do that. Or, like, collecting items from nature and putting them in a basket. Like, for now, maybe he'll put things in a basket, but for the first, 2 months of the class, anything he collected in nature, he just wanted to put in his mouth. And he didn't really understand the idea of amassing things in a basket. It would just be one thing at a time. It would either go in his mouth or on the floor or maybe in the basket by coincidence. But if anything went in the basket, it would promptly get poured out of it. All that is to say, we didn't really get a ton out of this environment. And it's unfortunate because one of the main reasons that I wanted to join was because I was hoping to meet more local parents. And I met some, but the group didn't really do much to foster any type of connection between any of the parents. Like, there was never an icebreaker or a session where everyone met one another and introduced their kids. There was never anything like that. So it was kind of left to the parents to figure out who everyone was and introduce themselves and make social inroads, which I'm not, a child. I'm capable of doing that. But it would have been easier if it were facilitated by the group's leadership a little bit more. And also there's just this thing, and I've mentioned it on the channel before, where it is a little tough being the only dad in situations like this. And now, granted, for this program specifically, I was not the only dad, but I was still in the minority of fathers there with their kid. There was, only ever 2 other dads at a time there in a group of 10 little kids at a time. And so with that, in the addition to it's outdoors, my hands were full with my son the whole time because he can't walk by himself. And it was constantly raining and muddy and all of this. And now it's so cold. We just didn't get very much out of it. I didn't get what I wanted to get out of it. I doubt that my son got too much out of it. It just wasn't for us. He was a little bit young for it. But frankly, when he is a little bit older, I don't know that I'm going to take him to something like that. Just because it cost a few $100 for however long it was, 2-3 months. And for what we did, I feel like I could just, post in our neighborhood Facebook group, bring your baby to the park. We're going to throw acorns at each other, and we would have the same result, and it would be free. And maybe a little bit more flexible with his naps as well. So the entire thing was a bit of a fail, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, not everything's going to work out. It's just a product of the sort of phase that he's in right now as well. Like when he's more mobile and, you know, chatting a little bit, I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities for us to meet more parents. And then, of course, when he becomes like of school age or pre-K age or whatever it is, like there will be an invariable influx of meeting parents in a much more controlled and guided environment, I anticipate. But we're always on the lookout for more things like that to do with him, both for him and for me, like to get out of the house and for me to meet people. It is tough. Like there's another thing that we go to every Tuesday in the library. Every Tuesday in the library, this doula that we worked with as like a sleep coach capacity, runs this mom group, and they started meeting in person. They used to meet in person. They started meeting in person again a couple months ago. They stopped for COVID and just never started again until this year. And so I've been going to that, and that's been good. Like I like the doula who runs it quite a bit, and she does a lot more to like facilitate interaction between the parents. She's constantly introducing people. Like it's nice, and I like it quite a bit. But it's also still tough because that one I'm only ever the only dad at, and I've like, you know, tried to combat the sort of like awkwardness that I feel about that by going to every single one of these meetings. So at the very least, like I'm comfortable in the library. I'm comfortable with Catherine, the doula that runs it. And like, I, you know, to whatever degree I would feel discomfort at being the only dad there, I feel like I've mostly been able to mitigate it, but there's still just like this invisible barrier. And I try to be very sensitive too of like a space that's not necessarily for me. Like this is a new parents group, I guess, but the WhatsApp group that is affiliated with it is called a mom's group. So like, you know, Catherine can say it's moms and dads all she wants, but like there's clearly a sort of focus here, and it makes sense, I guess. I mean, moms and dads are working both now commonly, so like maybe it doesn't even make that much sense that it's mostly moms there. I mean, it takes place during the day on a weekday. A lot of the time it's nannies there, actually. Like there have been a fair few, always women, but that matters less in that case. Just checking the time because we're not using a timer today. I'm recording the audio on my phone, so I'm just using the clock from that. Just want to make sure everything's running. Anyway, so I went to that yesterday, and there were like a few new moms there. It was actually like pretty lit, compared to how it usually is. It's only ever usually like me and two other parents maybe. But this time it was like 6 other parents, all moms with kids. And there were like a few moms there that I've met a few times, and you know, as soon as they all met the new moms, they were exchanging numbers with them and making plans to like do things with their kids. And I don't know. It's, you know, I don't want to be like social, like entitled, right? Like I don't want to assume that everyone likes me or wants to spend time with me. You know, maybe there's something about me that these people don't like. But at the same time, it is difficult when, like, you know, there's a few parents that you've been seeing on a weekly basis, and like it's taken you a while to sort of like establish yourself as a dad who comes to these things, who loves his kid and who's just trying to meet other parents. And then like there's another new mom who comes in, and on the basis of like, yeah, we're both new moms, like now we're going to be friends. Like, I guess I could do more about this, but like, it's awkward, and I have like a degree of social anxiety that is difficult to overcome, and I'm very aware of like who I am. I'm the only man, the only dad in these spaces, and like the moms are always breastfeeding, and like it's a weird thought to have, but like some of them use like the breastfeeding covers, which is fine. Like I don't care. I'm not looking anyway. But like I wonder, would they be using the like blanket to cover themselves if I wasn't there? Like I don't want to be making new moms feel uncomfortable, but at the same time, like my son is just as entitled to go to this library group as any of them are, and to play with the toys there and interface with the babies in whatever capacity he's able to, you know, socialize at his extremely young age. So it's been really tough balancing that. Leaves a lot to be desired. And I have other male like friends who I'm friends with from our lives before parenthood, who are now dads. But none of them live super close to me. And like, even with other dads that I already knew, like, it's usually different because I'm staying home and taking care of my son all day long. Like, my wife and I both work from home, but I have a lot more flexibility with work and frankly, a lot less like a lower volume of work to do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm able to get away with watching him for the bulk of the day. My wife is definitely not able to do that. She's got a very demanding job. She's got a well-paid job. She has a good job that like she needs to focus on. So she focuses on that all day long. And I am, the de facto stay-at-home parent, if you want. Even though we're both working from home, my wife is locked away in the office and I usually don't see her for like hours and hours at a time while I'm watching the boy. And it's just like, it's difficult to relate to my other dad friends that I already have because the bulk of them work during the work week and are in like a completely different situation from the one that I'm in. And a lot of the moms that I know do too. Like I mentioned, they're just sending their kids to daycare. So I feel like just like by virtue of being, first of all, a parent who stays home with their kid, even though I am still technically working, my attention and my priority is my son. I'm a minority in that I'm a parent doing that. And then the fact that I'm a dad doing that, I'm like an extra minority. And it just is an obstacle. So I don't know. I guess if you're watching this, I'm actually very curious because these have been pulling like 5-6 views each, which is a lot considering I've told no one that I'm doing this. This is just something that I'm doing and putting on YouTube. So like, if you're watching this, first of all, comment and let me know why or how, which is, you can watch it for any reason, whatever you want. You can be like single and childless and just like watching people talk. I don't care. I'm not going to be offended. You could be a person who hates me and is watching it to get dirt on me. I really don't care. I'm just so curious. So if you're watching this, comment and let me know who you are if you want. That would be very nice. If you have input or ideas on how to like balance this fine line between not wanting to offend people with my presence as a dad or like invade spaces that aren't meant for me, but also like meet other parents for my benefit and for my son's benefit and get him exposed to like the greatest number of resources possible to give him like the most full and rewarding early childhood possible, please let me know because I'm at a bit of a loss here. I just don't really know what to do. It's not I don't want to like aggressively force my phone number into the hands of unwilling mothers who like don't know me and don't know that there's zero implication other than that my wife and I need friends. Like we need local friends. It's a predicament. It's probably, I think like I talked about this, maybe the very first one of these that I did. Like it's something that doesn't really go away and that it hasn't gone away in spite of like the sort of contrived things that we've tried to do to mitigate it. Anyway, no timer. We're probably a little bit before the 15 minutes. What can I say? I may fuck up. I'm not consistent. This is just what it is. I'm doing these. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to make any apologies and I'm not going to beat myself up. Thank you for watching.